reports. Ruth, would you like to do your administrator's report?
So this month I'm going to talk about 2 or 3 small issues. We're going through right now the major billing cycle of the year. We're doing the parcel tax and the water tolls as well.
And everyone's here.
Oh, yeah. Do you need me to use the mic?
No.
We're good? So it means that in addition to the water tolls, we also bill our parcel tax and send out assessment notice. And for me, this is the first time through this cycle, and it's been an interesting process. I'm aware that people often don't like the format of our bills, but I'm starting to see that it's not as simple as reformatting the bills. In our office, we use a dedicated meter reading software system, and that software we use is called Brightwater. It is an Access-based software program. If you know what Access is, it's one of the suite of Microsoft Office software. And it was designed specifically for small water systems here in BC. I believe that most, if not all, of the small improvement districts on Vancouver Island use Brightwater software. And the primary reason we use Brightwater and not any other water system distribution software is because it is the cheapest. And what I'm learning is that Brightwater is a very inflexible software program. It does a good job of keeping all of our customer accounts up to date and our billings in order. But if anything needs to be changed in the system, those changes can't be made in our office. For example, we couldn't simply add the water toll penalty to the invoices, so there was a bylaw passed, I believe it was in November, whereby there's now a water toll penalty that can be placed on outstanding water bills. But I couldn't simply go in on a bill and say, put in a line item that said water toll penalty this much. It doesn't work like that. So, and that's the same with the assessment notices. The assessment notices last year had a different name, assessor name on it than my name. And so every time you have to change anything, like the hours that the office is open, anything that needs to be changed in that form, what I have to do is I have to prepare a mock-up of what we want changed, and then I email the mock-up to the fellow who runs the Brightwater program and developed it, and then he makes changes to the actual program. He emails me a zip file. I take the zip file and I load it on each of the 3 computers so that we now have the new program with the new forms in place. So I just want you to be aware that that's one of the issues that we deal with in a small office, and it's about the fact that we're tiny and we have to rely on the software that's available to us for that kind of thing. So I'm looking at other options. I've been online looking at what other types of meter reading. It needs to be meter reading software, and I'm looking at what other types of meter reading software might be available out in North America and whether any of them are useful for small water systems. But it was an interesting thing because I certainly was shocked by what was involved in making minute changes to the documents. Staffing of the admin office. I brought this up at one of our meetings with the board, and they said you should point that out to the people in the community. I know there are questions about how many people work in the administration office. Since I've come on board, we reduced the administrator's position from 1 full-time equivalent, that's usually called an FTE, to 80% FTE. So I only come in 4 days out of 5. And we also have 2 part-time clerks. When I got here, they had been working longer hours to man the office without an administrator available. When I first came on, they were each working 18 hours a week, and we've now reduced their time to 12 hours each per week. Except if we become busy sometimes, I will get them to work an additional shift. So our normal current staffing levels for the admin office works out to 1.35 full-time equivalent positions, 1 1/3 person. At times when we're really busy, I will sometimes ask each of the ladies to work an extra shift. So occasionally our staffing goes as high as 1.65 full-time equivalents. So while there are 3 people working in the admin office, since we are all part-time, ubid is currently paying for slightly less than 1.5 full-time administrative staff. I was asked by the chair to advise you what we've spent to date on obtaining the retainer monies back from Mr. Galambos. So as she reported to you, we got slightly more than $26,000, and I've done a review of our files to determine what monies we've spent in order to get that money back. There were several related things being dealt with all at the same time, including extricating the board from the lawsuit, and the law firm didn't set up a separate file for those settlement discussions with Ganapathi, so I had to do some estimates. But I was able to come up with a fairly close estimate of all the bills from May to date, and they total $4,891 that we paid to get the return of those dollars. And I also wanted to mention, I know people have questions about street lights and street lights being out. When I came on board, I asked, well, how do we normally report those things? And I was told we pick up the phone like any customer, and we phone BC Hydro and tell them we've got a street light out. I've determined that there's an actual reporting system for small government. It's called SLIM. It's Street Light Information Management, and I've set up an account with them. So now if I get a report about a street light being out, it comes into the office, I simply go online, and I can actually identify the pole online in their mapping system and advise them that it needs a street light repair. So that's now in place. So that concludes my report.
Have a motion to accept this report for information.